Now, Global Entrepreneurship Week is the world's largest celebration of entrepreneurial spirit, which aims to inspire a new generation of trailblazers, the innovators and job creators who launch startups that bring ideas to life, drive economic growth, and expand human welfare. Joining us in studio for more on developing entrepreneurship is Tracy Webster. She's the CEO of the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship, Octavius Pukubie, Head of Enterprise Development at the SAB Kickstart Program, and Dumi Jerry, an Associate Chartered Accountant. Thank you so much for making the time to join us. Tracy, let me come to you first. Understanding that it's GEW, as it's hashtag GEW as it's become to known, why is the Branson Entrepreneurship Center involved in GEW, and what are you hoping to achieve with your participation?
We just think it's a fantastic opportunity to really highlight and showcase entrepreneurs in South Africa, in particular young entrepreneurs. I think so many people, specifically the youth, are expecting that their jobs are going to come through government or large corporates. But actually what we get to see every day is that they're young, dynamic, tenacious entrepreneurs in communities that are starting up their own businesses, taking responsibility for creating their own jobs, and more importantly, actually creating other jobs for unemployed people in their own communities. So we wanted to create a space where young people could get together, talk about their business ideas, pitch their businesses, and use our entrepreneurs to be role models to the youth.
Dumi, if you take Tracy's optimism and enthusiasm, one would be a little bit confused when we look at the stats that say South Africans rate lowest amongst their African counterparts when it comes to having an entrepreneurial spirit. Is there a way of overcoming that particular mindset?
Of course, there is. There are various initiatives that people can take in an effort to boost this culture of entrepreneurship. And I think the key is government participation. But with that, we see that the government policies and regulatory frameworks that exist in the different countries out there don't necessarily allow for it. So coming back to your question, you see that entrepreneurs are saying, okay, government is not going to do it for us. Let's take it into our hands and do it ourselves with different platforms, different initiatives that they are coming up with on themselves to drive entrepreneurship.
So it seems as if there's a natural bubbling of entrepreneurship in the continent. Let me come to you, Octavius. I mean, understanding that the SAB Kickstart program really started off as a poverty alleviation program, and it somehow evolved into the platform for entrepreneurs and those wanting to take off with their small businesses. So from where you sit, you probably have a really good idea of what entrepreneurship can do as an indicator that can shift poverty. Do you see that relationship coming together?
Of course, there's a great relationship, Nozi. I think without a doubt, we all know and we can agree that the time has passed for us to be looking for jobs. I think the unemployment rate is quite high. The three devils that everybody else talks about around unemployment, poverty, and inequality. The creation of jobs, and that's the role that entrepreneurs play. There's a close link to that. When somebody has a job created for them by an entrepreneur, so their income levels change. They're able to feed more members of their family. They're able to do a lot more about their life, increase the quality of their life. But that starts with the entrepreneurs, and that's why we have evolved. Initially, it was more a case of just training people and get them to be exposed and be aware of the fact that you actually can be an entrepreneur in South Africa. And we began to see that, look, actually we need to now start not only just training them, we need to mentor them, we need to give them additional capital to get these guys to create more jobs, and have that high impact and create a lot of opportunities, the positive opportunities for the country.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Tracy, let me come back to you again, and I want to pose the question: who's responsible for creating a culture of entrepreneurship in the country?
I think we all are. I think it's going to take the private sector, I think it's going to take government, and I think it's going to take certainly the non-for-profit sector such as ourselves, but also those young entrepreneurs getting out there and being the role models and being the leaders in their own communities and spreading that message into their communities and becoming the role models. So I think, and also the media, I think we need to highlight this wherever we can to really build this spirit collectively.
There's also a dichotomy that seems to exist, and maybe Dumi, you can speak to this, because entrepreneurship is supposed to be small scale, starting easy and doing something and growing it. But we're also seeing a big flourish of business schools, and in all of these business schools, you're going to find one or the other entrepreneurship program, and it costs quite a bit of money. So where does the real birthplace of entrepreneurship sit? Is it in the university institution, or is it within the passion that lies within each person?
I'll go for the latter. It's in the passion.
Right.
It comes from the heart. You have to have the love for it yourself. That's where it should start. And the other players in this whole equation are there to make the environment conducive for you. But you have to do the harder work. So
passion alone, though, is not going to get us very far. So Octavius, let me bring you in. From the SAB program, what are the key challenges that you're finding that entrepreneurs are still taking on, irrespective of the degree of passion they may have?
Look, I think the reality is running a business, requires a lot of skills. It requires a lot of understanding of what it is that you've got to be focusing on to try and manage growth. So when the guys do have the passion, they still need to understand the complexity, the key areas that are required to run a business. Are you aware how to manage your cash? Do you understand how to go about making sure that your legalities around your contracting, all those kind of things are sorted out? Do you understand what it means to go and make a sale? You've got the passion, but how do you tailor your passion in such a manner that it's able to make a compelling case for a funder or for a customer or for any partner, whatever the case may be? You know what I mean? So you find those guys not appreciating those realities. So you still, the universities or anybody else who's willing to come on board, like Branson Center, like ourselves as well, they've got to then get that exposure and make these guys aware of those other things beyond just the passion.
If the stats are right, that 2/3 of every business that starts in South Africa fail, what is it that bodies like the Branson Center are doing to make sure that 2/3 comes down significantly?
Sure, and just to build on what the other two have said already, is that we take those entrepreneurs that have got a business up and running, but we journey with them over a 2 to 3 year period to help them grow and expand their businesses, getting their finances, getting their compliance in place, going through a rigorous mentorship program, understanding growth strategies, helping them access finance in order to grow and expand. So, we really believe that we need to journey over the long term. There's no one silver bullet. There's no quick fix. It's going to be built in relationship and helping people stand up when they are failing, assessing what's gone wrong, but having the courage and the determination to be analytical about that, but to keep driving forward and not to give up on their businesses. Entrepreneurship is a school of hard knocks. It's, are you able to get up and move forward beyond the failures?
The School of Hard Knocks, Dumi, let's come back to you again and maybe just get an understanding from you of, as an entrepreneur sitting and watching this particular interview and wanting to take off on a certain idea, and maybe you haven't taken the first steps of getting your business registered and all of the things that you need to do. What is the biggest lesson for entrepreneurs about the difficulty of actually managing your own business?
I'll say the biggest difficulty is accepting that at some point you will fail. And you will fail in one way or another. It doesn't mean that you're failing and your business closes down, no. Even in the current business that you're still running, you can still fail. So I think the key lies in you looking at that failure, not as a permanent one, but just as a temporary setback. Get up and continue again.
Right. Before we go, Tracy, let's also maybe get a sense from you, the easier markets or for entrepreneurs to get into that have lower entry barriers, that have a greater possibility of success. If you want to get involved as an entrepreneur, which segments should you be focusing on?
Well, the first thing I would say is an entrepreneur has to build their business around the thing that they are absolutely passionate about, because that's the thing that's going to get you out of bed every day. But I do think once you've decided what you're passionate about, you have to analyze who the other players are in the market. You have to know who your competition is, and you have to know how you're going to differentiate yourself and be better than anyone else out there. And really come up with that idea of why are you unique? We say that to our entrepreneurs. Why am I going to buy from you? Why am I going to use your service? What is different? What's the thing that's going to pull me in as the customer? And so really, and if you don't know what to do, plug into centers that are going to help you analyze that so you really can become the best in that field, so you have the competitive advantage.
Octavius, very quickly, we're talking about support structures for entrepreneurs outside of SAB. Where else should entrepreneurs be looking to make sure that they get the solid support that's required to actually succeed?
There's plenty of institutions in South Africa. In fact, it's known that there's no lack of money in South Africa. So you've got government institutions, you've got private institutions, you've got Branson Center, you've got SAB, Kickstart, but what you also have is you've got an opportunity to connect with other like-minded startups, because between there, that collaborative value there, it's very useful beyond just the fact that you've got 200,000 injected in. So it's important for startups or anybody else who's looking to be an entrepreneur to spend time, associate themselves with the startup. So join the movement, become part of the movement, because you get to learn a lot of things in that movement, in that space. So it's very important to do that.